So a few weeks back, I'd done a video on these Rippton Bitekeeper Pro bite alarms, and it was pretty well received. People seemed to love them. There was a few questions which I'm going to answer in today's video, but basically I'm bringing them out again and I'm actually going to use them for a session. In the last video, it was more telling you everything you needed to know about them. But this time, like I say, I'm going to use them, hopefully get a few bites. I'm on a new club lake. I don't really know too much about it, but I know there's some really cool old carp in here. So let's get the rods out and then I'll tell you more about the alarms. We'll go through the questions and I'll show you how easy it is to use them, to change them throughout the day when I need to. I'm going to start on the bottom, but it's meant to heat up quite a bit. So I'll probably end up putting zigs out. So I'll show you how easy it is to adjust everything. And if you haven't seen the previous video, then just above me, there'll be a link coming up. So you can click it and watch that first if you want to know the ins and outs of the alarms. If not, let's just enjoy the day, try and catch some fish. Right, so the rods are out. The left rod, I have found a spot at, I think it was 10.5 wraps. It seems quite a silty lake overall. Like I said, I haven't fished here much at all. It's a fairly new lake for me, but I found somewhere that felt a little bit harder and kind of quite smooth as I brought it across. So I've put the left rod out there and scattered a few baits over with a catapult. And then the right-hand rod, I've actually got quite a big reed bed to my right. And I have seen fish here on some of the days that I have been up here before. Haven't this morning, but I haven't really seen too much activity anywhere, but I thought it seemed quite a good bet, so I've put a rod just the other side of the reeds. Again, I've been having a little feel around with the lead. It actually felt quite hard and fairly deep the other side of the reeds as well, so probably dropped about 6 foot. And again, I've scattered just a few boilies over the top. I haven't put too many on that one because I wanted to set just a little trap really and hope that something moves up and down the reeds. Obviously this time of year as well, we're kind of around spawning time, but there's no signs of spawning, but there's a good chance that they will be hiding out in these reeds and coming in and out of them. So that's what I've done with 2 rods. I literally just turned the bite alarms on. I can't really remember how they've been set or anything, so I'm gonna jump back into the app like I did do on the previous video to just fine tune them to how I want them. So I've got the receiver here and I'm gonna set that to the lowest volume. You can have it muted and just on a vibrate mode if you just flick it on vibrate like that. But I do want a little bit of sound coming from it because when I'm filming, I'm kind of around the swim and I don't always have the receiver on me, which I probably should just have it in my pocket. That would make it easier. Coming to the 2 bite alarms. Again, I've got the actual heads on the quietest it looks like here, but to be honest, I'm going to put them both on silent. This sort of venue, any venue, you don't want to be making loads of noise, but this is a really quiet, intimate little venue. So I'm going to flick them down to nothing. Sensitivity, I'm going to up a little bit. Put that up to that one as well. So then I know that where I'm basically fishing fluorocarbon, so I've got quite slack line. So I want to know that if there is movement, then I'm getting notified on it. So yeah, that is the alarm set up. And hopefully we'll get a bite fairly quickly because it feels a good day for it. The sun is out, but it's not too hot. So I think there is a chance of getting a fish off the bottom, but like I said earlier, it is meant to heat up a bit. So if it does and I start seeing fish on the top, then I will be putting zigs out, and then obviously I'll be using this app to then tweak everything and probably end up putting them to max sensitivity and that sort of thing. But we'll see how the day goes. Like I say, if I start seeing them, then I'll switch things over. But whilst I'm sat down, I do want to run through a few questions that came up in the last video that I'd done. Apparently quite a big one. I didn't mention the price. So that is an error on my part, but for the 3+1 system that I'm using, it is £222. Now you can buy them in 2+1s or 4+1s, and if you go onto the Rippton website, you'll be able to customize it to how you want your set to be. But the set that I've got in my hands, 3+1, is £222. Can you charge them when they're in use? Yes, you can. So as long as you've got a power bank, like I mentioned in the previous video, you've got the single USB cable, which then splits 5 ways. So you can charge all your alarms and your receiver at the same time whilst they're in use. Obviously, if it's raining, be a little bit more careful because you don't want your power bank out in the open. But if you notice on the app that the battery is getting a bit low on one of the alarm heads, you don't have to worry about not having an alarm. Get it charging whilst it's actually in use and you're good to go. Can you change the LED colour, and if so, what colours? So yeah, through the app you can change the LED colour, and there is 4 colours to choose from. You've got green, yellow, blue and red. Now, something I have noticed since I've been using these, in harsh sunlight, the green seems to show up a lot better than any other colour. So just bear that in mind. I've put both of my alarms that I'm using today to green because I can see it a lot better. But obviously in other light levels, then pretty much any of them would be fine. You can still see any of them in bright sun, but like I said, the green just stood out that bit more for me. What happens if you've got no signal? So nothing, basically. Signal isn't a problem for the alarms because they use Bluetooth. So they connect to your phone via Bluetooth, they connect to the receiver via Bluetooth. So if you've got no signal, no data whatsoever, you still get the connection between all your devices. So you don't have to worry about not having signal. And I think that was about it, really. So yeah, that's a few of the questions that came up from the previous video. But for now, I'm gonna keep an eye on the lake, keep an eye to see if I can see the fish kind of rising up in the layers and whether to make that change to zigs a little bit later or not. I'll keep you updated. So the rods have been out for a few hours now, and if I'm completely honest, not a lot has happened. I've seen signs of fish over the open water spot, but they don't seem to be getting down feeding. That said, I have been keeping an eye on the water and I can't see fish cruising about on the surface. So I'm going to persevere on the bottom for now. It is about midday, so I'd be expecting to see them kind of moving up through the layers around now, but like I said, I haven't seen much. So I'm going to freshen up the rods. I've made a couple of little mesh bags, and this is just really fine pellet. And it's got a little bit of crumb in there and things like that as well. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use some of this sweet cream oil and just, once I've hooked it on, just glaze it with the oil, because obviously this time of year the oil is going to disperse a lot quicker, a lot easier, and hopefully that's what's going to draw the fish in. So I'm going to persevere and hopefully it will happen. Hook bait wise, I'm going to be using a 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝗄 boosted hook bait. These have been glugging for a little while now. I've got kind of bits of almost bits of crumb that's kind of attached to it as well. So loads of attraction, and hopefully with the warm water, like I say, that will spread quite quickly, quite easily. But all I'm going to do with the alarms, I'm just going to use the app. I'm going to use the mute function. So simply a case of pressing that mutes everything. Obviously the heads were muted already, but that mutes the receiver as well without having to cycle through volume. So that's that done. I can redo the rods without any disturbance whatsoever, and then simply go back into the app, unmute it, and then everything's back to how it was. So I'm going to change that now, and hopefully we can provoke a bite. So I've just been keeping an eye on that open water spot whilst I've been having a bit of lunch, and still looking past the camera now. And it is fizzing. It's fizzing big time. So hopefully that means that that liquid has brought them down a little bit, brought them in there to have a bit of a feed. Last time I was up here, I was lucky enough to catch one as well. I had a really cool common. It was just shy of £20. I'll put a picture up. When I had that one, they were just fizzing everywhere. So I'm hoping that they do give themselves away a little bit in here by fizzing, by showing that they are having a proper munch. And I haven't seen anything on the top, so I'm guessing that they are up for a bit of a feed. So got a good few hours left this afternoon, so let's see what happens. Keep everything crossed, but it's looking good out there, looking promising. Well, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen today. I think it's one of them days that makes you want to come back again next time. They're still fizzing on that spot, but time's getting on and I've just got to reel in. So yeah, slow pack up, just in the hope that something happens. I've still got a bite cam on the rods. I'm still hopeful, but yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing the Bitekeepers again, because they are very cool alarms. And today, obviously, I've been actually fishing with them and I've been able to use them, and being able to tweak them through the app is really handy. I think that's probably the biggest plus point for me, just how seamless everything works. And yeah, it's really cool. I really like the alarm. So if you do want more information, either check out the other video that you might not have seen, or head over to the Rippton website where you can find out a little bit more. But like I say, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.